All right, hi second grade, we are coming to you live from the classroom. So get out your practice paper and pencil, and we're going to start by reviewing some of our phonograms. I'll say the sound, you'll write it. If you don't know it, draw a line below the baseline and then write it in after I write it up here. Are you ready? All right. Our first phonogram is R. All right, so this one is a little tricky because sometimes we call a letter R, but does R make the sound R? No, it says R, right? So our phonogram that says R is this one, R. So make sure you're always saying it while you write it. If you didn't have this, then pause the video and write it 3 times, saying it while you write it. All right, our next phonogram is A, two-letter A that we do use at the end of English words. Class, what are we going to write? Great, A, two-letter A that we do use at the end of English words. So write it and say it while you write it. I know we learned a lot last week, so we're not going to learn any new ones the next couple days. We're just going to review the ones that we learned before. All right, so make sure you're leaving clock spaces, and this is our A, two-letter A that we do use at the end of English words. So if you didn't have that, then pause the video, write it 3 times, and say it while you write it. All right, our next phonogram is O, the O of toe. What are you going to write? Say it with me. O, the O of toe. Great, write it and say it while you write it. All right, leaving clock spaces again. This is our O, the O of toe. All right, so if you didn't have that, then write it 3 times and say it while you write it. That's how you form those connections in your brain to remember it next time. All right, the next one is E. Just E. All right, write it and say it while you write it. All right, I wonder if I tricked any of you. I wasn't trying to, but to just say E, we need this phonogram with 2 letters, E. Sometimes we say E double E, always says E. But I don't say that because I didn't want to give it away. All right. Our next one is the of early. The of early. If you don't remember, that's just fine. Do a line below the baseline. We learned a lot last week. We learned 29 phonograms last week, I think. So that's a lot, huh? All right, this is our the of early. The of early. All right, so if you didn't have that, then write it 3 times and say it while you write it. All right, the next one is ch. What are you going to write? Say it with me. Ch. All right, write it and say it while you write it. Ch. All right, so make sure we're leaving clock spaces. This is our ch, k, sh. All right, so if you didn't have that, then write it 3 times and say it while you write it. All right, the next one is ed, d, t, past tense ending. Class, what are you going to write? Say it with me. Ed, d, t, past tense ending. Great, write it and say it while you write it. All right, class, this is our ed, d, t, past tense ending. So if you didn't get that, write it 3 times and say it while you write it. All right, these next ones are a little tricky, so I'll try and give you a hint. These are our hurt twins, remember? So they go outside and they're playing and they fall down, and the quiet one, we'll do the quiet one first, says, ow, oh. Class, what are you going to write? Say it with me. Ow, oh. Great, write it and say it while you write it. All right, this is our quiet hurt twin. This is our ow, oh. So if you didn't get that, write it 3 times and say it while you write it. All right, next we will do our talkative hurt twin. So that one says, ow, oh, ooh, ugh. What are we going to write? Say it with me. Ow, oh, ooh, ugh. All right, write it and say it while you write it. All right, this is our talkative hurt twin. This is our ow, oh, ooh, All right, so if you didn't get this, write it 3 times and say it while you write it. I'll say it with you 1 time because I know the sounds can be tricky. Ow, oh, ooh, All right, we're almost done with our review for today. The next one is, watch my mouth. All right, this is our Remember, it's a little bit like but it looks different because my mouth's open, and that makes it sound different too. So this is our All right, so if you didn't have that, write it 3 times and say it while you write it. All right, you guys are doing so well. Let's just do a couple more. The next one is, wait till everyone's ready. All right, the next one is k, 2-letter k, used only after a single vowel that says a, e, or a. All right, I'll say that with you. Will you say, what are you going to write? K, 2-letter k, used only after a single vowel that says a, e, or a. Great job. Write it and say it while you write it. All right, we're going to practice some using this today. So this is our k, 2-letter k, used only after a single vowel that says a, e, or a. Oh my goodness, what did I forget to do? Good, I forgot to underline it. Oh my goodness. All right, great job today, class. We're going to take a stretch break, and I'll see you in the next video.